Hey guys, this is Brandon at Tailwater Fly Shop, and today we're tying the Crafty Baitfish. So our hook today is a 1/0 Umpqua tarpon hook. Size 1 tarpon hook. Size 1. The Tailwater Fly Shop, Fly Tying Institute for kids who can't read good. But I'm going to start my thread right in front of the hook point, and my first material is going to be some bucktail. So I'm going to put a good little thread base down just because I don't want that bucktail to slip on the hook for any reason. And then I'm going to come back to about my hook point, about right there. And we're going to take a decent little clump of bucktail. And the bucktail is going to give you some movement. It's also going to give you a nice bait fishy profile in this. And so this is our large northern bucktail in white. And we're going to take a healthy little clump of bucktail here and really kind of use this to set the length of our fly. So since it's getting into winter time, a lot of our bait's going to be pretty small. So I'm going to make this fly fairly small as well. So I'm going to go about 1.5 times the length of the hook shank or so with my bucktail. And the cool part about this fly is you can make it whatever length and use however much material you want. You can upsize the hook or however you feel like you need to give yourself the fly that you need. And we'll talk about some other ways that this fly is versatile here at the end once we get it tied. But my next material is going to be EP Crafty brush in white as well. So I'll prep this brush first by, I'm just going to trim off this bit of wire here that we don't need. And we're going to put a decent amount of wraps on this with my Crafty brush. So I'll pull that bucktail back just to make sure it's sitting how I want it. And we're going to wrap this pretty tight. So I'm going to really stack these wire wraps back and forth. So we're at about 5 wraps or so here. So we'll get to 5. And I will trap this fiber. So I like to do 3 wraps over the brush and then 3 wraps in front of the brush as well before I trim it out. And then as you can see, this stuff, kind of no matter how good you do it, your Crafty brush is always really going to have some that's trapped. So we're going to come in and just kind of lightly pick these fibers out. And as you can see, this is a 3-inch brush. So you're going to have fibers that are longer than your bucktail tail that we've already tied in. But remember, we're using that bucktail as like kind of structure and profile for the fly. So what I'm going to do once I get all this stuff brushed out is I'm going to get to the length of my bucktail, which you can see is about right here. And I'm going to grab all these excess fibers and I'm just going to pull them right out. So we still have a pretty short fly when it comes down to it. And if you like this longer, then you just lengthen that bucktail, lengthen your Crafty, and you can make this a bigger fly for your summertime or fall, spring patterns. Like I said, this is a wintertime fly. This is going in my wintertime box, so I want this one to be fairly small. It's going to be a 3-4-inch fly maybe. My next material is a 3-inch Enochromatic Brush from EP. And we're going to do the exact same thing. Wrap it right on top. Get this material good and trapped here. And we're going to take this brush all the way to the eye of the hook, which really should only be about 3 wraps or so. So you definitely don't need as much of this material on the hook as you do with your Crafty brush, because this material, this brush is much thicker than the Crafty brush. So trap that after, like I said, about 3 wraps. You could go 4 if you wanted to, but I want this one to be a little bit more sparse, so we're going to do 3. Trim that out. Brush it one more time. So once I get all these fibers kind of untrapped, then I'll pull everything back with my hands and make it pretty. So I'll just take some wraps right over the wire where we wrapped it in. Make sure we cover up that wire because you don't want that cutting anything. And we will whip finish. And then just like with your craft fur brush, you'll see that some of these fibers are a little long, so you can go in and just pull those out. Again, just you set this length however you want this fly, but I really don't want this thing to be very big because most of our bait fish are going to be left on the flats are going to be 3 to 4 4-inch pinfish. And then that will bring me to the last part of why I like this fly so much. So once you come in, you can kind of trim out, a few of these wayward fibers. And the one thing that I really like about this brush is that the EP fiber, especially your white EP fibers, whether it be Foxy brush, Enochromatic brush, whatever you want, takes color from a marker very well. So what I'm going to do is pull that sinew that we just tied onto the fly, and I'm going to pull it up. And I basically want to give this some kind of pinfishy look. So I'm going to take a Sharpie, and what I'm going to do is just stripe this just a little bit. And the really nice thing about this is you can get as crazy or as not crazy with colors as you want. So, sometimes I'll come in with a little red marker and do a little gill plate on the bottom. I'll come in with an olive marker or, some kind of green marker and do the green to look like a greenback. You can do a silver to make it look like a mullet. You can come in and just kind of stripe these however you want, and if you want to add more, you can always just come in and just dab it for a little bit more. Just to give this kind of a little pinfishy, shrimpy look for our wintertime materials. And then you can add eyes as well if you want to. Be right back.
A few moments later.
Sorry, I'm back. Alright, so the eyes we're going to use on this fly, and the ones that I've found work best kind of no matter how you color this up, is the 7/32 holographic eye from Hairline. And you'll see this is just a little adhesive eye patch. So what I'm going to do is take my bodkin, and I'll just get one of these eyes on my bodkin here and kind of lay that off to the side. We're going to use, just to kind of lock it down, we're going to use some gel Loctite glue. This is my favorite gel, but any gel glue will work from, Zap-A-Gap or anything else. Like I said, I'm a little partial to the Loctite one. And you're going to make just a nice little dab of glue wherever you want that eye. And then I'll take the eye off of my bodkin. You can use your bodkin to stick it if you want. I'm a little bit more comfortable doing it with my fingers. Lay it right on top of the glue, and then you're just going to use your scissors just to mash that flat into the glue. And I'm just going to keep kind of applying pressure on it until basically it doesn't come back at me. So I want that eye to lay flat against the hook shank, and it's going to push all those fibers and kind of splay them out a little bit and give me this nice little bait fishy profile I'm looking for. I'll come back over and do it on the other side. Once you kind of get it stuck, you can push this anywhere you want with your scissors. So, if I lay it a little crooked or it's not quite in the direction I want it to be, before that glue dries, you can move it just a little bit with your scissors. But I got that one in good shape. Come in, you'll have to do just a little bit of final trimming after you stick those eyes on there, so I'll take those little bit of wayward fibers out. And you are ready to go fish your crafty bait fish.